My name is Warner Workman. Hey, I'm doing an ad today, not about my store, not about Operation Christmas Shop. I'm going to talk about the election that's coming up. Yes, if somehow you just got out of a coma, there's an election this year, right, for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and local delegates, right? And so I want to talk about that real quick, and I'm going to make the incredibly obvious statement. I'm going to encourage you guys to vote, pure straight down party line, right? Ed Gillespie, Joe Vogel, and John Adams, right? So John Adams, man, what a cool name to be as a lieutenant governor, right? So here's the deal, and you may have seen my signs outside in, my store here, right? So, this is an election not about big government, small government. It's not about, differing ways of managing a republic, and adhering to the Constitution and rule of law, things like this. This is literally an election for the difference between good and evil, right? And so, we all fall short, of the glory of God. We all sin, right? Democrats have taken that and have institutionalized. That's right. They embrace every form of anything that's non-American, un-American, anti-American, anti-free enterprise, anti-capitalist, anti-republic, right? They're the party of Black Lives Matters, Antifa, anybody and everybody that has an agenda, right, that is just so out of the mainstream of what America was once founded on and has been for the last, functionally 240 years, right? So let's talk real quick about, the Republican ticket. So here's the deal on Ed Gillespie. I actually don't particularly care for him, right? I think he's sort of a jerk. He's an anti-Trumper, right? He's sort of a Bushite, and I sort of, don't particularly care for them anymore, right? But the reality is, I don't care. Right? Because he still has good conservative principles. Is he as conservative as I was like? No. Right? Is he more conservative than the Democratic candidate? Oh, hell yeah, right? And so, the nice thing about when Gillespie gets in there, we will, stop finally. Well, how many years have we had of non-Republican governor in Virginia? 8, 12, whatever. It's insane, right? So I don't care if Gillespie likes Trump or not. Couldn't care less. Is he a conservative? Yeah, sort of, kind of. Is he Republican? Is he at least right of center? Yeah, clearly, right? And so are we still going to go down this path of just bigger and bigger government and things like this? He's definitely going to have some policies that's going to reverse that trend, right? Pro-life, he's pro-gun. He basically, his policies support, 99% of the stuff, that I support as well. He's just a jerk. Right? Okay, so let's talk about Jill Vogel. So I like Jill Vogel. I'm not hot or cold. I'm not gaga over Ed Gillespie either, right? But the reality is she's much more conservative than Gillespie, and I hope she can influence the governorship to make a substantial turn to the right? Get away from more and more and bigger government, right? Return local control of our schools to the locals, right? Not state and federal, locals, right here, Loudoun County School Board. Let them run it. Right? The state and the feds, they give them money, they bribe them, they force them to do stuff that they may not want, right? Let's have those local education issues right here locally, not at the state, Richmond, at the national level, right? Now, here's the guy I love. I am gaga over John Adams, right? So first of all, the name is just the coolest name, right? And so, please tell me who John Adams is, right? From the Revolutionary War days. Okay, so I'm going to assume you do. But anyway, so I've talked to him a bunch of times. He is top notch. Now, listen, we have an idiot in there now, and he's running again, I guess. And, he's the guy that refused to stand up for your decision, right? So the people of Virginia voted to define marriage between a man and a woman, right? The majority of Republicans and the majority of Democrats voted for it. It was overwhelmingly a constitutional issue. Virginia State, he refused to defend that in front of the Supreme Court, and it was subsequently, overturned, right? He failed to do his most fundamental job, which is defend the laws, right, of Virginia and our nation, in front of, the courts, right? He did it. We got to get him out. John Adams, he's just really sort of a great guy, right? Now, so let's talk about the Democrats real quick, right? So the Democrats, they're just the party of everything that's non-American, right? So if you're a non-American, right, if you're an illegal, right, they love you. They want you to vote. If you're dead, They want you to vote as well, right? And for every possible, opportunity to grow government, they want it bigger, and they want more control over your lives. Listen, I want government out of your lives, my life, your life, everybody's life, right? I don't care who you're banging, right? I don't care what you're doing in the privacy of your own home, right? I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to have to support it. I don't want to have to publicly acknowledge it, right? But the Democrats, they're not happy unless you are being forced, whether you want to or not, right, to support their agenda, no matter how weird, no matter how perverted it is, right, all this other stuff, right? And we've seen here recently, all this news has been breaking out about, Clinton and the campaign and the Russian collusion. She was the one doing the Russian collusion. It was just funny, right? They are basically just this massively corrupt organization, right? And I think we have legitimately some Democrats who have been lifelong Democrats who are just tearful to see where their Democratic Party has gone over the last 20, 30, 40 years, right? And, and so here's your opportunity. So if you're a middle-of-the-road Democrat or even right of center, blue dog Democrats, right? If you're one of those guys, listen, this is the year that you need to vote Republican Party. Gillespie, Joe Vogel, and John Adams. Right now, listen, we got some local delegates as well. We clearly have Dave LaRock, who's our guy's a great guy, good friend of mine. And then we have Randy Minshew. Now, Randy Minshew he's a tax hiking Republican. I don't like him because he voted on a bunch of taxes. I think fundamentally he's sort of Republican principles. I wouldn't call him a conservative, but I do call him a Republican, right? And then we have Delegate Bob Marshall, whose opponent, right, is just she is mentally ill, bottom line, right? So here's the deal. You got to go out there, vote for LaRock, vote for Minshew, as much as I hate to say it, and vote for Delegate Bob Marshall, right? Those are on the local level. On the state level, you got to vote for Gillespie. No, I think he's a jerk, right? But he's still a Republican. He's still somewhat conservative, and he's clearly going to make a change in the direction of Virginia, right? Joe Vogel, again, I'm not necessarily gung-ho over her, but she's better than the other bonehead who's running on the Democratic ticket. And then John Adams, right, a guy who actually believes in the Constitution both at the national level and the state level, who's vowed to defend it, right, and who's vowed to go after the corruption that's just so rampant in our political system. And trust me, where's all that corruption? Right, it's on the Democratic side, right? So anyway, Tuesday, the election is about good and evil, right? So on the one hand, you got people at least who sort of acknowledge that man is basically bad, and we need to limit government, right, to the most basic necessities, right? And then we have on the left, we just have literally a socialist, communist, statist system or party who wants control of anything and everything. They've taken over healthcare. They've taken over finances. They want to tell you who you can and cannot to piss next to in a bath. I mean, this is just insane, right? It's not just this. These aren't ideological differences, right? This is the difference between good and evil. So anyway, Tuesday, vote straight Republican. Gillespie, Vogel, Adams, LaRock, Minshew, and Bob Marshall, right? Listen, God bless. Let's restore our American republic by voting straight line party Republican, right? God bless. We'll see y'all guys after the polls, and hopefully we'll have a big victory party. Whoop whoop whoop. 7:15 on Tuesday. God bless. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.